All right, I'm Jason Whitlock. He's Marcellus Wiley, that dude.
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome to Speak For Yourself, the most fearless show in sports. Coming up, we'll tell you which star player the Cowboys just sent a message to. And 1 hour from now, I'm going to trash Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich for ruining Team USA. But we start today with the Patriots. Tom Brady's new contract is testament to Bill Belichick's and Tom Brady's adherence to the Patriot way. The Patriot way works the opposite of marriage. It's never monogamous. It makes no promises about behavior during sickness or health, and you will depart long before death. The Patriot way is a prenuptial agreement that stipulates a player's relationship with Bill Belichick will end the moment he can find someone else to do your job more efficiently. In September of 2001, the Patriot way allowed a sixth-round draft pick to unseat a quarterback who signed a $100 million contract in the same year. The Patriot way is at the heart of Tom Brady's rise to GOAT status. And now that philosophy might usher him out of New England. The for sale sign, TMZ reported, posted in the front lawn of Brady's $40 million New England mansion, and the details of Brady's new contract indicate Belichick will not spare Brady the fate bestowed upon Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Lawyer Malloy, Willie McGinnis, and of course Drew Bledsoe. The Patriot way is to move on sooner rather than later. Brady's contract extension allows that. The new deal gives him an $8 million pay bump and the freedom to leave the Patriots after this season, no strings attached. The Patriots are prohibited from using the franchise or transition tags on their star quarterback. After 20 years in one uniform, after delivering one franchise 6 Super Bowl titles, Brady can suit up for a new team next season if he wants to continue his pursuit of playing until age 45. That seems crazy. If ever a player was owed a farewell tour, owed the opportunity to stay past his usefulness, it's Tom Brady. It's not just the high level of play and the 9 Super Bowl appearances, it's the decade of team-friendly contracts. Brady sacrificed for the company. In corporate America, a guy like Brady would be promoted into a no-show job with a sweet corner office and told he can name his retirement date. Brady's parting gift from Belichick is an uncertain future. Yesterday, Brady said he's good with that.
It's really the reality for most guys in the NFL. You know, I don't want to think that I'm any different than everyone else. Like, football's a tough business. It's a production business, and you know, I'm ready to go this year, and that's really what matters, and that's where my focus is. It's a unique situation. I'm really not worried about it. You know, I'm secure for this year, and I think at least I get a few first-team reps out there.
You know what? I believe Brady. He's battled and conquered the sense of entitlement that overcomes most decorated athletes, entertainers, and executives. He's not looking for the kind of golden parachute the Lakers gave Kobe Bryant. Maybe his marriage to cash cow supermodel Gisele Bundchen gives him that luxury. I say it's more than that. I say he believes in the Patriot way as much as his legendary head coach. I say he's seen Joe Montana and Michael Jordan spend their golden years in foreign uniforms and figures the all-time greats go out as proud mercenaries. I say Brady isn't a hypocrite. The Patriot way created Tom Brady. If it kills him too, so be it. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analysts LeVar Arrington and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Marcellus, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Think Brady is okay with this possibly being his final season in New England?
No way. Hell no. Look at that resume. Look what he's helped build. You talk about the Patriot way, and you pointed out a lot of the consequences of the Patriot way, which means we'll get rid of you even if you're good sooner than later. But the Patriot way is also divided, at least amongst the fans, at least amongst the brass, of two things. Is it in Bill we trust or in Brady we trust? And that's always been a conversation. Which one is really running this thing? So Bill knows he can't touch Tom Brady. Now, Bill Belichick's like, I will try. But then at the same time, he's learned his lesson with the Jimmy G situation, them all sharing the same agent. And what happened? Jimmy G's out of town. That didn't make Bill Belichick happy. He also saw two-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning get benched for one game and saw 2 people get fired, and that not go well, and him being back in the starting lineup thereafter. So Bill is a little hesitant in terms of pulling the trigger on Tom Brady, but Tom Brady also can do this all to himself. 2 things can happen. The team can underachieve, If they underachieve, you know what that means? Divisional round loss. That's great for most teams, and that's an underachievement for the team. Now Bill can strike. Or if Tom slumps, not even if Tom falls off the cliff, if he slumps, they can greatly exaggerate it and then insert someone else in that position. Because we know at the quarterback position, there's no backups, not in terms of rotation. You don't get reps as a backup as a quarterback. So how can you even get someone to get them into the fold on the playing field to make this fan base embrace this? So Tom Brady is sitting there like, look, I would be unhappy if I leave here, but at the same time, we're putting the cart before the horse. If we're talking about him leaving here, two things have to happen. One is result-based on the person and on the team, and I don't see both of those things occurring.
I mean, would he be upset if this is his last season in New England? Absolutely. He's going into this saying, I'm playing 2 to 3 more years. I know that for a fact. 100%, he's not looking at this year as being his last year.
And he's selling this house.
And that's a fact. He's selling
this house.
He's 100%
To get a
looking
bigger
to
house.
play beyond this year.
You know, rich people do that.
And so
Need more room.
now, if his level of play drops, of course things will change. It's so far away, you just don't know. If he plays well, he's coming back. And if he plays well in his eyes, and they don't have the type of season, but in his eyes he plays well, and he's forced to leave, he played for someone else. He's not just going, oh, New England can't have me. I'm
Head of the card. Do you think he'll be okay with it? If this is his final season, I believe Tom is like, he's made peace with it.
I think as he's gotten older, and the Patriot way has probably rubbed him wrong at times, he's just.
What if he believes in it? If it could happen to Richard Seymour, they dusted him off.
When you talk Richard Seymour, you talk Ty Law, you talk Lawyer Malloy, Tom has outlasted. If it happens to Tom, it's not like, oh, man, you really got 4 to 5 years left, but we letting you go now.
He says he's got 3. He wants to play till 45. I think he's like, man, this Patriot way has served me well. It got Drew Bledsoe up out of here, and it made me a superstar. And if it happens to me, I'm good.
I tend to agree with that. I think to answer the question, on the inside, emotionally speaking, of course you don't want to part ways with a team that you've spent your entire career with and accomplished at the level that Tom Brady has accomplished with. The Patriot way, you have to say, in essence, is the Tom Brady way in a lot of regards, because Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have built what the Patriot way is together. And whether anybody wants to try to separate that or not, maybe Bill may try to recreate that magic with a different guy, but that's probably once in a lifetime that happens. So I think he understands it. Internally, doesn't like it. Outwardly and sensibly speaking, which I can assume, and from what I know of Tom, he definitely is a sensible person. He's going to assess this at the end of the season. He's going to assess this mid-season, and he's going to assess it at the end of the season. If he wins a Super Bowl, he's coming off of a Super Bowl. If he wins a Super Bowl, then you'd have to assume that he would really, really be terribly offended and hurt by being let go or given the opportunity to leave.
They wouldn't even think about doing that.
They wouldn't Patriot way, they've let some good players go,
but
after winning the Super Bowl.
Name is not Tom Brady.
Good is not Brady. That's not the same.
That won't happen.
And look, this year bought him some time already. Like, they won a Super Bowl. First of all, Belichick was already thinking of this. The Jimmy G situation, that didn't have all that noise for no reason. And then what happened? Kraft and others said, you know what? Oh, you thinking about getting rid of the great or benching the great because he was slumping a couple years ago? Jimmy G gone. Now what you gonna do? So then they respond and win the Super Bowl the year after, and that's just pushing the ball down the field. I get it, the Patriot way. It's the way it is, but not Brady's thinking, not the way it should be. Somebody has to be.
Not for me.
Not for me. All rules are meant to be
Did you just hear the man?
But when you look at
hear the man out of his own
I heard
mouth?
the podium talk.
He always
You really think he's a podium talk guy? Honestly.
He always
be
puts
strategic.
himself
You do have to
on the
be
playing field with his teammates. He never puts himself on a pedestal. But
He
they
might really
super
believe
smart.
it.
They tried to Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Lawyer Malloy him. They tried.
Yeah, they did.
And it didn't work.
And
They tried to do
I
it.
get it. And
Brady
I believe
we trust.
they delayed it.
Yeah.
They delayed it.
That Super Bowl win.
They delayed it. But I don't think it's over. And again, when you start talking about Brady making assessments, look at the way he just handled his contract deal. That to me is an assessment like, oh, hell, this thing right here may be over, and I want my freedom because I don't know if this guy wants me to play at age 43, 44.
I look at it a little differently. I look at it from the standpoint of Tom Brady has ascended to a place in that organization where he's almost playing the card like an owner would play the card. He's playing the business card now. And sometimes we get so caught up into looking at the player standpoint. Player. Tom Brady is a player. No, Tom Brady is not just a player for the New England Patriots. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. He's a column. He's a pillar for that organization. Tom Brady is taking the money that he's taking not because he's washed up. Tom Brady, as everybody has said in the discussion, he is building up continuous goodwill as it applies to him and what that represents to the New England organization and the fan base. Yeah. He is approaching this. Owners don't make a whole lot of money being owners of sports franchises. If you understand business, y'all, now put y'all up on game. They're making their money in a whole entirely different business. This is their hobby. Yeah, this is something that they do for the love. They're a fan.
But they're making money, but it's not primary.
The reality of it is Tom Brady does not need to make an absorbent amount of money as a player because he is the face. He is a pillar. There is nothing that you can say that isn't synonymous with Patriot and Tom Brady at this point. He does himself good and better to say, let me make myself a valued player and say that I am going to continue to compete just like everybody else on this team because that puts him in a very, very fond vision and viewpoint of the people on looking because he's bigger than that. He's much bigger than a player.
Every dollar that he says, I saved this organization, the fans feel like, oh, my God, he just gave us something. And like you said, in goodwill, he's protected. Eli Manning is a great example, a lesser version of Tom Brady, but to New York and the Giants, tremendous success. And they tried to touch him, and they realized, back up. And that's Eli. Brady's like, man, I'm so much more than that. If you guys try to touch me, I understand the play. The play is either I'm slumping and you're going to exaggerate it. Because when you slump when you're young, they say, oh, you know what? The game hasn't slowed down.
But if he's slumping,
we're investing in him.
He's not. If he's slumping and he plays that
Somebody
bad,
got to define slump.
He's going to say himself, "It's time for me to." He's
going to have his own definition.
He slumped 2 years ago.
It goes beyond the
Marcellus. We all agreed that we learned something from Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis. Stuff leaks for a reason. It's never some investigative report about someone gave you some information. Mm-hmm. And so this TMZ report that the house is up for sale, that's some information given to them strategically for a purpose.
But it's still propaganda. Now, that's still considered to me to be propaganda.
With Brady signing, because he signed with WME for off-the-field representation, does that say, okay, I'm getting out of the game here soon too? Because that happened last week and then nobody really talked about it.
Tom Brady's brand goes far beyond the playing
I get it, but I think the WME representation is like, oh, I'm in an elevated level of the political game and I need some elevated assistance. I need things leaked to TMZ because I'm in a chess match with Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. They think I'm bluffing, that I won't go play someplace else, that I just went through a contract negotiation that gives me freedom after this year. They think I'm bluffing. Okay, well, let's put the house up for sale. What do you mean? I'm not bluffing.
Yeah, but that's not a leak. I mean, you make that transaction, then it's going to be recorded, and if you're famous enough, they're going to find out. That's not leak. That's like, okay, my house has been, people know where I've lived before going for Google search. I mean, anybody that of
They know it's up for sale. It just happens to come out the week you sign this extension and free agent, and then boom, 2 days later, me and my wife, we got our house up for sale.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a bluff. I mean,
I don't think it's a bluff.
Okay.
I think the man is willing to play elsewhere.
There might be some things going on behind closed doors that we're not privy to, conversations that have taken place.
That's a different conversation.
I'm going to come back to it again. We are still on the football field with what we're talking about with Tom Brady. Tom Brady's brand and his legacy as a New England Patriot will take care of his kids and his kids.
Bill Belichick don't care about that.
For me, in my opinion, after all the success that he has, the most responsible response that I could give to that question is he will assess where he is at the end of this season. I think he's truly focused on this season and playing as well as he can play because he believes in the division he's in.
Let me just tell you something right now.
Go ahead.
You don't represent Tom Brady.
That's true.
In this moment.
That's true.
I need you to speak for yourself.
Yep.
Will he play someplace else?
No.
Yes. Yes, he will.
No,
You're
he
not going
won't.
to take football away from me. Look, you may take the opportunity and title of quarterback for the New England Patriots away from me. That's good. But I quote the famous Andrew Bynum, who ain't that famous to everybody, but he's famous to me. Because that dude said it's a bank in every city. So when they traded him, he was like, y'all can cry about this all y'all want, but I'm moving on to keep using my talents and keep playing the game I love. So if Brady still loves the game and is still performing at a high level, why would he let Bill Belichick and the Patriots take that away from him?
See, but I don't think he's looking at it as them taking it away from him. I think he'll look at it from the simple
If
standpoint.
they don't want him, that's taking it away.
Well, it's conventionally thinking of it, yes, and not representing Tom Brady, but what I'm saying is what he does represent to that football community in particular, that it has never been done by any other athlete.
Well, you know, this brings
It's not, I don't think you're
This
taking
is what
anything
Jerry Jones
away
was
from
hoping
him.
when he got rid of Emmitt Smith, that he would just retire a Cowboy. And Emmett went other places.
Went to the
and
Cardinals.
guess what?
I just
Not
don't
once
think
do
any
you
other
ever
player
think
are
of
comparable,
Emmitt's,
though.
Huh?
There's no other players that are comparable to what he's accomplished.
Michael Jordan?
The only
Michael
the
Jordan?
closest-
Joe
My
Montana?
MJ is
Joe
comparable.
Montana?
MJ is comparable.
Joe Montana.
Joe
Joe
Montana.
Montana.
I don't believe Joe Montana is comparable for the simple fact that they had a guy in waiting by the name of Steve Young. It isn't the same situation. You already had a starter sitting there on that roster
If you
with
think
Joe
Bill
Montana.
Belichick doesn't think, oh, I can find me the next one.
No, I'm
If
not
you think
saying that.
his ego doesn't think that.
He might be thinking that. But what I'm saying is it would not be advantageous to them to part ways in that manner, for one. And then for two, what Tom Brady represents, he's looking at this from a totally different scope than just saying it's about them taking football away
It's
from
brand
me.
protection for
It
Tom Brady
is
more so.
100% brand
He's not
per-
going to hurt his brand in a San Francisco uniform or Houston, Texas uniform.
I don't
I'm
think he
just
plays anywhere
Cincinnati
else.
Bengal uniform.
I'll put my money
Jordan
on that.
played for the Wizards. Didn't diminish him
I
at
was
all.
there.
This is Jason Whitlock from Speak for Yourself, and I got a website you have to visit, pristine.com. Pristine Auction has daily auctions, ending nightly, and with $1 starting bids. Authenticity is important to Pristine Auction. They guarantee authenticity and come with authentication from only the most trusted sources. Pristine auctions are affordable. Most people don't think they can afford this stuff, but it is much more affordable than you think. A signed Ray Lewis Baltimore Ravens jersey sold for under $100. A Mike Tyson autographed boxing glove sold for under $100. It's quick and free to register, free to bid, and you only pay if you win. Use registration code when joining pristine.com. That's pristine.com, and new users will receive a $5 auction credit. Again, you'll get a $5 auction credit when you register using the code SPEAK, SPEAK, to sign up for pristine.com. That's pristine.com. TJ Husmanzada, LeVar Arrington, Darnell over there, keeping track of us over social media. Time now for a big story. Let's move to the Cowboys, who still have yet to make any deals with Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper. And we might have some new insight into why, according to the NFL Network's Jane Slater, the team has offered contracts to all three guys that would put them in the top 5 highest paid at their positions. But Slater also reports that Dallas is willing to let the guys play on prove-it deals this year if they can't get extensions done before the season. All right, I interpret that the top 5 and prove-it deals, to me, Jerry Jones is talking to Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Because
Yeah.
Zeke deserves to be in the top 2, and, you know, I really don't, maybe Amari's in the top 3 or 4, but the guy who needs to be 5 or 6 is Dak.
Well, he's talking to Dak. But let's be real. I think he's talking to all three of them for real in different ways. He's talking to Dak first because he's like, come on, man, you ain't even top 5, bruh. But I'm going to make you top 5 in dough. Take it. Leave me alone. Now, next, he's looking at Amari. Hey, man, look, I know you were great in college and you had some moments in Oakland. You were good. And then all of a sudden it went down. And then you became available. There was a reason why you were available. You were inconsistent, I would have to term all of that. Highs and lows. Prove it again, brother. You had a little nice bump. Y'all had an instant connection. Can I see that again? But I'm going to make you top 5 because if I look at the 5th highest paid receiver, his name is DeAndre Hopkins. Are you better than him? Hell no. So then he's like, I'm doing you a favor, but go ahead. And then Zeke can you just go a year without me having to hire more security, go through the issues and all the distractions? And Zeke, you are top 5, but you know, this comes together. It's complementary football on and off the field if you're going to represent the stars. So I think he's talking to all of them in that order.
For me, he's talking to Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. Ezekiel Elliott, he's proven his point. He's one of the top 3 at worst running backs in the league. And how contracts work is this. When a guy gets to a certain benchmark, the next guy available that's quality as he is, you jump that.
True.
I'm not signing nothing less than that. That's just how it works. Dak Prescott, they're really, really, really talking to him. Amari Cooper is just collateral damage. Like, it's what you said. We got you because the Raiders didn't think you were good enough. You were very inconsistent. And when you say name the top receivers in the league, you're going to name 6, 7, 8 before you get to Amari Cooper. But what did I just say? When you sign contracts, you usually jump guys that you're probably not as good as. Dak Prescott is the main guy that has to prove it. And for me, the Cowboys have a really good team. He's going to prove it because of the team around him. And the longer they wait, for me, the Cowboys just going to get more expensive. They could have got ahead of this last year, and I didn't have to worry about it. It's just going to get more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. Similar to Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Cowboys need to give these guys what they want to a certain degree and get it over it and move to the defensive side of the ball.
He's definitely directing that towards Dak, first and foremost. That's your quarterback. There's a lot of things that can be connected to that. If you lose Dak Prescott based upon this contract, what does that mean for the next guy you're bringing in relationship-wise? How does that work out? You know you got a guy that can win games for you. He's shown that he can compete at a high level. But I think it's even louder to Ezekiel Elliott. I think Amari Cooper, I think he is more so collateral damage. I don't think that we're not hearing a whole lot of things coming from Amari's camp. Amari needs this, Amari needs that. You're not hearing those things. You're hearing the noise from Dak Prescott in the media talking about it, and you're hearing Ezekiel Elliott talk about it in the press. Once it becomes a media consumable story, then now you have to start communicating through the media and behind closed doors. So whatever it is going on behind closed doors, we're not privy to that, but they know who's having either, you know, amicable or respectable conversations behind closed doors and who's not. You know, is there a beef forming? One is in camp, one is in Cabo. I think the guy that isn't in camp has to be the one that they're talking to the most because in the end, the running backs position continues to downgrade. It continues to be a lesser of a position that
Not him, though. Not him.
Yeah, but you have a sturdy offensive front, and if I can get my quarterback in tune and get my receiver and get them signed and keep that offensive front along with the guys you have on defense.
They not performing when he's not in the game.
To me, when I hear top 5 in anything, I hear blue chip. That's blue chip stock. And there's one guy in here that's not blue chip stock. Now, he may prove to be, and that's why I think the words prove it, but Amari Cooper was blue chip coming out of college. Ezekiel Elliott was blue chip coming out of the womb. Dak Prescott was blue chip
Don't do that.
last year. Or, you know, his rookie year or whatever.
Years.
But he was a fourth round pick.
His sophomore, junior year in college before the fight.
He has to prove he's blue chip.
Nice.
Honestly, if you look at Dak Prescott, is there a player, a quarterback in the league in the last 10 years that have been treated the way he's been treated with the success he's had?
Who's mistreated him?
Well or mistreated?
Who's mistreated him?
When quarterbacks perform how he's performed, when he had the type of team success, you don't have to haggle over contract. They just give it to you. They just give it to you.
We're in this new era where guys are getting $30 million a year.
It's all relative, though.
But
no, it ain't that relative.
No, they're getting $30 million. But who started
the cap is going
Jason,
up 10
who started
a
this?
year.
Who started it? The owners are the ones started paying. So it's all relative.
The owners are making it
this
because
is
the
what
cap
he's
is growing.
earned because of what has transpired and what's going on.
Because of what's happened to the position, I get it. But again, $30 million a year, I don't care what profession you in. Custodial business.
You stop. It's a relative scope.
$30 million a year.
There's more money.
Man, you better clean the floors better than anybody before I give you $30 million a year.
Hell no. You got to understand that that's part of what comes with a growing cap $10 million annually in the last few years. So look, the quarterbacks are just going to keep getting that bump up. You said it, the blue chips.
Mr. Clean.
Shut your trap. Look at all these names. Amari and Dak don't fit conveniently in the top 5 conversation for their positions, but Zeke does. But this is something that we all have been through before if you got brothers and sisters. When mama is talking to you, if you got a brother and sister, she's talking to y'all.
Or you feel like they talking to everybody.
Right. And then flip-flop, too. I used it against you. Mama, I want a starter jacket. Guess what? I got one, but my sister had to get one. Everybody get the same damn gift, right? I want a Walkman. You gonna get one, you gonna get one. Because the way that they receive it is, I ain't got time to be going through all these little, your issue is your issue. You know what? I got a blanket conversation. I got enough money to pay all 3 if you want to work with these dynamics. If not, y'all gonna get in line and Dak gonna be in the back.
I'm gonna tell you this. They're going to ratchet up. The longer this plays out, they're going to ratchet up the threats because this is the first of the threats. They're going to and they're going to get to a real place where, like, you know what, Dak?
Yep.
Come out here and play. And if we have to franchise you next year or let you go or whatever, we're willing to do it.
The beauty of this is because they're going to start the bickering amongst those 3. Because what's going to happen is if y'all don't take it as a package, okay, let's take it by merit. And then who's going to feel the worst about that? Dak. But who deserves the most? Dak. So then now,
Zeke.
Who's going to get the most is Dak, no question. He's getting the most regardless.
Dak's getting the most.
They're in trouble regardless.
All right, Darnell, you've been listening.
They're in trouble.
What's anything we missed? Anything Twitter might have thought we missed?
Yes, sir. It's starting to sound like Zeke might not be getting paid exactly what he's looking for. Cowboys reporter Calvin Watkins tweeted out that Dallas is looking to pay him a contract closer to Le'Veon Bell's than the Todd Gurley's league-leading running back deal. So should Zeke be happy being second behind Gurley?
I wouldn't have a problem with this, to be honest, because the market has said Todd Gurley's overpaid, and the market keeps saying we're not going there again. So if you get Le'Veon Bell money, I think that's a good deal.
Yeah, when I signed my deals and the big deals, I didn't look sideways. I didn't say how much he get. I was just like, that's a lot for me. Look, and then Strahan was making more than me. I was like, well-deserved, but I stayed singularly focused. Was that enough based on what I have given to this game and what they expect out of me going forward? At a certain point, if you're just trying to name hop, you might do yourself a disservice because that might not actually get you paid.
Contract negotiation works as such. You compare yourself to a guy that is comparable in talent, statistically wise, and you want his contract or better. He's not going to be happy taking less. He will settle for equal to Gurley, but he's not going to be happy if he has to take less.
They're not going to give him that contract. They will not. They've already said they're not going to set the market with him. If it's equal to or more, that puts, in my opinion, that puts Dallas in a position that now, depending on when they get that deal done, will dictate a lot with the other guys and how their deals are done. I just don't think that Dallas is going to put themselves in that situation.
TJ Houshmandzadeh and LeVar Arrington are back. Darnell is back to keep an eye on social media for us. All right, let's move to Cleveland, where Freddie Kitchens' first season as a head coach is underway, and he's come up with a novel way to try and change the Browns culture. After former Browns coach Bob Wiley criticized Kitchens and said Greg Williams should have gotten his job, Kitchens said any of his assistants who anonymously leaked to the media will be fired.
Immediately.
Yeah. This is a stupid rookie mistake.
Whoa.
Rules are the enemy of leadership. You don't come up with rules. You come up with all them rules, hardline rules, because you don't want to make decisions. And he's drawn a line in the sand that he can't keep. If he got a defensive coordinator that's going lights out and he catches him leaking something, I dare him to fire him.
Wow.
He ain't going to be allowed to fire him.
All of that was wrong. Let me see. I've never played for a leader then, because my coach used to say names and numbers if I hear about something. If not, you're out of here. If you violate...
Did they do? But go ahead.
Hold on. I put my name and number to it, so I don't know. I'm just going to say this. I understand what you're saying. It sounds a little like new sheriff in town. Here's my shiny new badge, and here's my new set of rules, which all players hate. But since players have heard this, at least I heard it, and I was in the same room with assistant coaches who's like, oh, okay, it's good for the players. Well, now it's good for us. I like this as a rookie head coach. Got to run a tight ship. You know why? There's been 6 head coaches in Cleveland in the last 7 years. I'm on the clock, y'all. I ain't got time to be playing these games in these leagues. I'm running a tight ship. If you're not on board, you're overboard. Simple as that, no matter who you are, if you representing the Browns.
I think this has been an unspoken rule across the league
Right.
anyway. No head coach is going to have assistant coaches leaking things to the media.
Are you kidding me?
And not,
I've worked on the
no,
media
what I'm
on the
saying
other
is
side.
it's anonymous. They're not going to attach their name to it. And if the head coach find out,
Right.
then of
Nothing
course
happens.
I'm going to try to fire you.
You got to have,
Nothing
you
happened?
better be Belichick to make it happen. Because, again, firing people is just not as easy as Freddie Kitchens. I want to fire somebody. Oh, you do? Well, come here and give an hour presentation on why. That's why Magic Johnson quit, because he didn't want to do the work that it takes to fire people. It's a lot
Well,
harder.
If the Browns are having a type of season,
Mike Krzyzewski's written a book on leadership, and one of the first things out of his mouth, rules are the enemy of leadership. They're for people that don't want to make decisions. That's why great coaches avoid a bunch of rules. They handle every situation.
Coach K ain't got no rules.
Not really. Not really.
I think he's nervous, honestly. I think it's bigger than the scope of just the coaching staff and the staff itself. It is connected to the players as well. I mean, he's not even the biggest brand on the team, right? So you're talking about
how many
a guy
head
that
coaches
has
are?
He has well, some are. You know, Gruden makes sure he is at times. You know, Shanahan. Anyways, so when you think about it, though, he's trying to send a message, a collective message, because you got a lot of guys who are social media active. We talked on the show the other week about Odell having his own YouTube channel now and different things like that. How much of that stuff is going to get into the media in terms of what he's talking about? What is his content going to be? I think he's trying to send out a collective message to his entire group. Do not let our business become public business as a leak or
then you
or
say it and don't
outside
say
of
it to the public.
Yeah, but I think sometimes you got to be cryptic and try to be strategic in how you position what your wording is. I'm saying, like you said, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to all of you guys.
All you
right?
guys, yeah,
I'm talking
everybody.
to all of you guys. So I'm saying coaches.
Yeah.
But I mean all of y'all.
But
Don't leak anything.
This is a learn from the real world, which I think was taken from the athletic world. Like I said, I've heard this before, Coach. Like, you do A, B, C, you're gone. And, you know, guys didn't violate it, at least publicly. Maybe privately, and maybe you couldn't put a name to it. But like if you work at Google, there's a non-disclosure that you sign. And look, there's criticism, there's backlash against it, but people who work there have signed it.
Yeah.
And you do not share how much you make in compensation. You do not share what we're doing in terms of intel. Now, you do it, okay. We find out it's you're gone. It's just that simple. So I don't think this is as
Depends on
hairy.
performance. It depends on performance.
By the
know that.
assistant coach?
Yes.
What assistant coach is going to have a performance?
You don't think
that's
there's
gonna-
not some great offensive coordinators, position
many?
coaches?
Oh, I'm talking about on Cleveland right now, but I know what you're saying in general.
And again,
I'm saying who's under him
I
that
think your
he can't
coach.
get rid of?
I think your coach that you say said this. Was he saying this to the media? Or was he saying this to you all in private?
Private.
And again, this is where I'm talking about a rookie coach talking big, has no idea because he's never been a head coach. He sounds like someone who once ran a website that had never managed people and talked big and couldn't back up some of the things he wanted to do. I lived that experience.
I hear you.
I had one of the I knew someone who had a very laughably incompetent employee. Laughably. Took months to fire them.
Yeah.
Months. And so it's just a lot harder.
But that ain't the NFL.
Oh, no.
It takes
Trust me on this.
seconds to fire anybody.
You think.
Because he's going to be the one that
'Cause,
gets
yeah,
fired
they're
first.
not going to take a long time to get
I'm
rid
just
of him.
gonna you think it's easy, but firing players isn't as easy as it seems.
Well, let me give
there
you a
can be
point.
some
Not
resistance.
starters.
Well, let me give you a point, some credence. This does sound like he's reacting to the noise that says, hey, you got so many bombastic personalities, everybody's crazy in there, everybody wants attention, not enough oxygen in the room. And he's trying to say, look, I'm dealing with the oxygen issue right now. And I'm dealing with it not just in the quarantine of my players, but my entire staff is on board. Nothing wrong with that, setting the tone.
All right, Darnell, did we miss anything?
Yes, sir. So after Baker's beer chug went viral at the Indians game, Freddie Kitchens was asked about it, and he said it was impressive. So I want to ask you, do you guys think it was the right move for Kitchens to embrace it?
No, rookie coach. Again,
So if he
doesn't know what
was
he's
second-year
doing.
coach, what would it be?
He doesn't know
Second-year
what-
coach. Like,
I
what's
would
wrong with-
I take a total pass on
What would you
comment.
say?
I'm not getting into that. That had nothing to do with anything on the practice field or anything like that. I'm not addressing that. I'm not wrapping my arms around it. I'm not embracing it. I'm not spurring it. I'm all good with we the Animal House football team. I'm not doing that.
Wow. I mean, for him to take over after Greg Williams and to get this team rallied, they won, 4 of the last 6 games. Like, things started to work for them. He embraced them. They embraced him.
No. That was Greg Williams that did that. But
Yes, it was.
No, respect. And where Greg Williams, where is he? Okay, thank you. So Freddie Kitchens is like, I'm taking this and running with this baton. Can I? And y'all go down, kill the guy because
He's Blutarski or whatever the name in
whatever
Animal House.
you want, but I'm not mad at him.
If it works.
He's not.
If it
works, because it's not. It's not going to work. I'm sorry, you got all these players. You got Kitchens as the coach. It's not going to work.
Listen,
because it's not programmed for it to work. If it works, and he did all those things, and you can look at, like with McMahon and all those guys, and they did the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They did the Super Bowl shuffle.
If
it works, it looks amazing.
Yeah, that works.
If it doesn't work,
it's too early
what
for
are you
him to be
doing?
criticizing Baker Mayfield.
You ain't got to criticize him. Take a pass. All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, LeVar Arrington is back. Time now for Darnell's question of the day. Darnell, take it away.
Yes, sir. So a couple of days ago, the Tampa Bay Rays faced their in-state rival, the Miami Marlins. But the bigger story was online where their team's Twitter accounts were going back and forth. After the Rays swept the Marlins, Tampa Bay went on Twitter and talked some trash. The Marlins responded with a tweet that bothered a lot of people, saying, quote, "You're literally the animal that killed Steve Irwin. Log off." The Marlins later went on to apologize. But do you guys like team social media accounts pushing an envelope like this?
It doesn't bother me. The only thing that bothers me is the apology. I don't think this joke is offensive at all. I think people take a lot of this stuff on social media way too seriously, and they're looking for reasons to be offended. Look, if you got a Twitter feed, the job is to draw attention. And so that's what the Miami Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays are doing, trying to draw attention to their Twitter feed.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're going to push that envelope. And
Right.
I don't even call this going over the line, but some people will. But I don't know. It's just not a big – I like it. It's the only reason to have a Twitter feed to some degree is to draw attention to yourself.
Yeah, I'm with this in terms of, like, look, we're storytellers up here. You give us some smoke anytime that we could get it from a source, from the team's accounts, I'm all in. But that is step over the line. Now, we can widen the parameters. We can widen the lines. But you ever been playing with somebody, you throw a thing, and, that's what we doing. Right. So I just think that was a moment where, that's what we doing? But then everybody's going to jump in the avalanche, and the reaction is to that. But, yeah, they were playing at one level, and then they went to the next level. We could have responded, but I still like anytime you can get some smoke. More ammo for us.
I agree with both of you. I think, honestly speaking, the apology was strategically placed. We've already put it out there. It's in social media.
Yeah.
Now, if they had apologized, did they delete it or did they leave it up there?
It's still up there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's still up there. All right. So, we're sorry. We didn't mean that. To all the people that were offended, but they're looking at it too. Everybody that's sitting there like, man, they said, they said he did that, right? It's already out there. So I think it's an innovative way to try to create attention around a series, and I like that.
The more interesting thing that to me happened this week in terms of a team or an organization is the Cleveland Indians tweeting out the Baker Mayfield video and mocking Colin Cowherd. That was fascinating, and I enjoyed it. It gave us content.
Yeah.
It was good-natured. And again, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm like, damn, the Cleveland Indians are drawing smoke to our fire, to the Cleveland Browns. That may be overstepping it a bit. Why y'all involved in our stuff? But for me, is it something I'm riled up against about, or think they need to go talk to whoever runs their Twitter feed or not? Hell no.
Now, let me reconcile these two things. You just said someone talking about a death is not stepping over the line, but, hey, your player came to our game and we just put him out there on the Twitter feed. That may step over the bounds.
Complications potentially for the Browns.
Pity
I'm
you.
saying potentially.
Nobody told him to take the chug. Nobody told him to bite the can.
That's
he
true.
did it on
That's
our
on
property,
Well,
too.
nobody
That's
told
okay.
Steve Irwin to go down.
Oh, no.
Now you need an apology.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, it was all voluntary is all I'm saying. It was all voluntary.
Before we go further, I'd like to address Team USA basketball coaches Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, or as I like to call them, the Woke Brothers. They're the leadership of the weakest international basketball team America has assembled since the advent of the Dream Team in 1992. If not for the Boston Celtics making their entire roster available, we might have been reduced to sending G League players to China. So many players said thanks but no thanks that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver suggested privately the league remove four-time gold medalist Carmelo Anthony from Colin Kaepernick quarantine. It's the secret place where NBA teams stash players with enough talent to play in the league, but who are deemed unworthy of the headache. In the NFL, the media calls it being blackballed. In the NBA, it's called business as usual or standard operating procedure. But I digress. I want to talk about why the NBA had to issue 50 invitations to find 15 NBA players willing to spend 6 weeks representing the country that made them ridiculously rich and famous. There are a multitude of factors. The shine has come off the Dream Team concept. Been there, done that. Guys make so much money now and have outside business interests that they don't have 6 weeks to donate to their country. They'd rather vacation or tend to their business ventures. Plus, this year's World Cup falls 1 year before the Olympics, not the customary 2 years. This year's Cup is a burden. I get it. It makes sense. But there's an additional factor I don't want us to avoid. The culture of the modern NBA has no respect for the very country that produced a sports league that makes millionaires of predominantly black athletes. It's fashionable in the NBA to feign and or exaggerate disdain for America. Popovich and Kerr have greatly contributed to this culture with their divisive, shallow political commentary. They reduced America to its sitting president. And America is and always has been much more than the man residing in the White House. America is its Constitution and the promises contained within it. Pop and Kerr know this, but they've spent the last 3 years pretending one man nullifies the history of a country that embodies freedom, diversity, opportunity, evolution, and equality more than any other. And now Pop and Kerr want to talk about the responsibility of unity.
You know, we can't fix the divisiveness in our country, but what we can do is be a great example of how people come together for a common goal and achieve it.
Well, no. That is the lesson and point of participating in team sports. The reason Popovich has to remind himself, the media, and the players on Team USA of that is because he realizes political agitators have hijacked the sports world and turned football and basketball into polarizing cable news shows. Pop, Kerr, and the NBA need to find a way to disagree with our president without denigrating our country. All right, joining us is Yahoo Sports senior NBA insider Chris Haynes. We'll hear from Darnell in a bit, but Marcellus, we'll start with you. Is the roster deal, the lack of superstars, a team that's led by Kemba Walker, who is their biggest star, Marcus Smart, Miles Turner, Thaddeus Young, Chris Middleton, not a who's who. It's just a bad look for the NBA.
Not at all, unless you ain't did your homework and been watching this damn World Cup over the years. You said it in your Whitlock. You said next year's the Olympics. We know we're going to get the big dogs out there. But let's go back to yesteryear when international play was for the amateurs and the business interests were aligned when the Dream Team came about. And then all of a sudden you saw the big name players say, okay, I get you. Let's do it. There was a time where the NBA and the players were on different sides in terms of their business interests. So a lot of players were into brand building. Let's go back to the 80s and the All-Star game and all the ancillary parts of it, the dunk contest, three-point. Like, players were like, yeah, please, like volunteering their time to do extra on the game, for the game, because they needed to build themselves up monetarily and also in brand. We're not in that place right now, so let's just get all of that out the way. Looking at the World Cup roster over the years, do y'all remember when Kevin Durant, Kevin Love, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge all pulled out one year? Do y'all remember the next time when LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and Dwight Howard all pulled out? Because they're like, this odometer only has so many shots, only so many leaps.
Julius Randle just pulled out.
Okay, we get on. He did.
We're down to
that
Julius
level
Randle.
of player would not be in my notes because the big boy, big boys have always pulled out, and now we're getting to this level. And the thing that it tells me also is these players looked at Paul George when he was practicing for the World Cup. What happened to him? That injury, catastrophic injury. Didn't know if he would return to the greatness that he has. So you add all of that up. My business interests are different. You can get hurt out there. The odometer is saying, hey, save some of this for your primary source of income, which is playing in the NBA. I don't think this is a bad look. I think that, hey, we might have to return back to where we were, amateurs and lower-level players.
I think it's a bad look. I understand why the players are pulling out for this reason alone. Most of the players I've talked to have intentions of playing in the Olympics. But I will say this. I think, this is my own personal opinion, but I really do think what's going on in our country has something to do with the level of players making themselves available for international competition. And I'll say this, I wouldn't be surprised, depending on how 2020 goes, if the players who are saying right now they intend to perform at the Olympics, I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled out, depending on how the election goes.
Would the election come after the Olympics?
It will be after, because the Olympics would be, what, late August or something like that?
Yeah.
election.
But we'll have a great idea
Yep.
of who's leading candidates and who has the momentum going forward. And so with all that being said, and I get Steve Kerr and Pop, they have their side, and a lot of people denigrate them for taking a stance. I don't, I feel like, they're human. They pay their debts aside like everybody else. They have a right to speak their mind. They just have a public platform. With all that being said, we're divided. And I think now players are saying it's business ventures. It's time with family. It's we want to be acclimated with our teammates for going into next season. But I think next year's excuses will be something totally different.
Well, you going?
Well, I want to follow up on his point,
Yeah, let's go.
and I want to put it on you, because I agree with Chris. I do think next year the political climate will impact who makes themselves available for Team USA, and that's why I think Pop and Kerr and other older, responsible people need to have some historical perspective of America is more than who's in the White House. It always has been. We've had people of despicable character in the White House before. It's bigger than one person, and it's a mistake to reduce America to one person.
I disagree with both of you guys, because I just think that this is confirmation bias. So whatever your opinion is of the White House right now we're going to lend it to what's happening with the World Cup roster, and then we're saying, see, that's where it goes. That's where they married. That's not true. I just gave you the list of names from KD to LeBron to Blake Griffin to Kobe, Dwayne.
I know, but Marcellus, we just had
But-
two coaches just come out and talk about unity and that this is difficult and
Different
things
times,
like
yeah.
They just have addressed the elephant in the room. They agree with us that, they didn't say it specifically, but by addressing these issues at all, they're acknowledging that the political climate has hurt the enthusiasm for Team USA.
It didn't, because, as I was saying, the list of names that I gave, and it's a laundry list of greats, they opted out when Obama was in office, and we didn't have this political climate, at least the same thought and perception of the White House. So, hold on. If it was good enough for the Stars then, why is it not good enough for the Stars now? All because everyone has their opinion and bias about what's going on in the White House, supporting it or not. You can't find a common denominator there. Two, it skews younger. The World Cup skews younger. Average age is 24. Our stars in today's game are all older than 24, except one All-Star from America. His name is D'Angelo Russell. Every other American All-Star is older than what the average age of this roster is. What happened years ago when Obama was in office is the Stars is like, I'm going to check my watch and I'm going to check my odometer. This is not the time for me to put this extra mileage on there, especially when next year you're going to have the Olympics. So, look, I understand the White House is sitting there and it looks like the elephant in the room, but in reality, it's just peanuts, brother. It's not the elephant.
You got to ask Team USA if they think this is just peanuts, because they begging players and telling them and trying to relay that, look, you guys, the facts show, the studies show that you guys have more successful NBA seasons when you participate internationally over the summer for your country. They're still not buying it.
Right.
So this is, we talk about there was 50 invitations sent out. It should have been 100. Maybe we would have got more of a pool, better Supreme pool. But I'll say this about the climate in which we're at. No matter if you're left or right, whatever it has be. I'm walking with my homeboys, right? We taking a walk down the park. And we walked past this house, and it had a United States flag on it. And when we walked by, my homeboy was like, "Oh, they a Trump supporter." I'm like, "What? That's what it mean now?" You know, I'm like, "That's what it mean now." I'm like, "Okay,"
Yeah,
but in a little bit of way, that's how people define the flag now. Some people, and so you know, Whitlock, you talk about disassociating, you know, playing for the country for who's sitting in the presidency. A lot of people are doing that, and that tripped me out for that little example.
I think look, lane violation, as they say in track and field. You're stepping on the line, brother, and you're actually out your lane. Here's the thing. I play in the NBA. I would not play in the World Cup. Let me just say that if I were this level of basketball, I would not play. I play in the NBA. That's how I make my money. I got to protect myself. Then Olympics. I get it. Representing our country, fine. This is a qualifier that we don't even need. We got to finish top 2 of the 7 teams of the Western Hemisphere to even get in the Olympics. We don't even need this. And there's another qualifier in July. So of next year. The point is, these players are smart. Respect that they're not so caught up in politics that they're actually smart. I'm not putting this mileage unnecessarily on my body.
Well, Marcellus, you would agree, and I think this is what Chris and I argue. There's a pie, and we're not denying your slice. That part of it is what you're saying. Part of it is like next year's the Olympics. Part of it is blah, blah. But part of it, and this is what Pop and Kerr are trying to get out in front of, is that there's all this divisiveness, and now when you put on a Team USA or associated with flag and representing the country, some people are conveying that as an endorsement of the president, when it really should just be an endorsement of your country, because if you really understand this country, it's so much bigger than one person, regardless of what office they sit in. And the facts of where this country has come from to where it is now should, in my view, make you feel pride and make you feel optimistic that we can do even better. If we can come this far, my God, if we keep pushing the ball forward, even if you think that this current deal is a blip in the road, but that's all it is. It's just a blip in the road. It's not a stop sign, if you believe that. I can't even. Again, I try to stay out of politics. I don't vote. I don't get emotional regardless of who's in office because, I believe I have a faith in God. I have a faith in the Constitution. And I have a faith in, I look at the history and go, well, damn, look where we've gone. It's the Dow Jones. If it keeps going, it keeps going up.
Look, I've stated my case, so we're going to leave that. I'll come over to where you guys are, and I will state this.
Address our slice of the pie.
Get to our slice.
Your slice or your slice? There's a different slice size.
This slice more important.
Hey. You can have pride in something without actively representing it. Now, I've never been called to represent my country, my athletic endeavors. I never was in this position. But let's just talk about the things I have been called to represent. And I still didn't have I have pride, but not actively representing it. I have pride in where I'm from. I have pride in what I represent. Compton and South Central and all that.
All part of the USA.
Right. But then when someone says represent that and actively do it, that takes on a different complexion. And that also mentally, for those who are seeing me come, seeing the American flag come, do you want to actively represent that? Because maybe you're embarrassed. Maybe you're not so caught up in the good, but you're like, there are issues and warts with it.
Is that what Muhammad Ali went through?
Right. So I think that the players maybe
he fought for America in the Olympics, Muhammad Ali, but go ahead.
No, I get you. I get what you're saying. But at the same time, he didn't always actively represent.
He won the gold medal.
Hey, there's supposed to be a great documentary coming up as well on Muhammad Ali.
But anyway.
Yeah. You get my point.
Right, I get your point. All right, Darnell, any slice of the pie that we missed?
Ain't nothing left.
Man, so it's hard. I know Chris kind of touched on this not too long ago, but so after 2 more, mass shootings happened this weekend, Steve Kerr tweeted out this popular meme about gun control in the U.S. So I want to ask you guys, do you like Kerr adding his opinion to this sensitive issue?
I don't have a problem with him weighing in. I don't like the way he weighed in. I think there's a false equivalency here, and this is very popular. He talks about the wall, and it says that, when Latinos or Mexicans do anything, the wall. The wall is just an idea. It has not been enacted. It's just an idea that people have, whether you agree with it or not. It has not happened. And so then he says, when mass shootings and it's a white guy, it's thoughts and prayers. Well, that's not true. There's an idea that we should enact gun control and ban weapons of war, ban assault rifles, blah, blah, blah. That's the same deal as the suggestion of the wall. There are people that want guns banned as well. And so it's a false equivalency that Twitter begs you to do. And Steve Kerr is too smart to fall into this trap to demonize people the way that this tweet does, I think is inappropriate.
I like the fact that he gave his opinion, even if I disagree with it. It doesn't have to call me to attention to the point where I disagree, to the point where I say you shouldn't even give your opinion. I let that live. These are a lot of sensational terms and ways of thought. And he responded in a sensational way. So that's the channel he's on, Twitter. I think if we sat down with him in a town hall session.
I would agree. He's smarter than this.
Right. But you know what? Also, you got to meet people where they are. And guess what? On Twitter,
yeah.
It's got to be divisive
saying.
and demonize people. And to me, Steve Kerr is doing what he says he hates.
But the stereotypes do have truth to them, even in general. And this is
That's dangerous.
Is it dangerous?
Yeah.
Is it true?
It's dangerous.
Dangerously truthful. Huh?
It's dangerous.
Okay.
TJ Houshmandzadeh and LeVar Arrington are back. Let's move to Raiders camp, where Antonio Brown's first season with the team is already off to an Antonio Brown-like start. John Gruden already says he's disappointed that his new receiver continues to miss practice because of foot issues. And according to Chris Sims of Pro Football Talk, Brown's foot problems are actually frostbite caused by entering a cryotherapy machine without the proper footwear. Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger are cackling right now, and I would say something else. I say it.
Cackling?
Yeah, cackling. Laughing because there's always drama. There's always something going on with Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
He's done something silly and hurt his football team.
You're right. There's always something going on with them 10 touchdowns plus
100
yards, 100 catches. There's always that going on. Look, this is not a good look. Bad timing. Worse timing than it is a look. This is new information for me, the cryotherapy. I've done it. I think we've all done it before.
I've never done it.
Oh,
I'm
you haven't?
old school. I'm
done
older school.
There is a uniform. You better put it on, too. Don't go in there.
Everything.
Don't tough it up because you're going to get this. That said, he's making it hard for me to defend him. I came into this segment wanting to defend him, but it's hard to defend him when you hear cryotherapy and you see this. My man was working out. Ain't no
brick.
With a brick. That's fine. Look at the shoes, dog.
Yeah.
Stacey Adams, I don't know what the hell he wear, but he got on some dress shoes with no socks.
He got unk shoes.
So you compliment that you getting into a cryotherapy machine without the proper equipment, and I know that's not proper equipment and footwear for what you're doing right there. You're not taking care of your body to the level you should based on who you are.
How much they paying you?
And how much they're paying you. So yeah, I can't defend much.
The Steelers made a right call moving on from a team chemistry, cohesiveness aspect. As far as on the field play, no. Antonio Brown is one of the top 3 receivers in the league. He's going to remain that, I would say, for the next 2 to 3 years. What has happened, he's going to work. He's going to put the work in. When you go to cryotherapy, they give you socks. They give you mittens. They give you something to put on your ears. You know to do that.
Wear it.
And it's not for a lack of trying. He was trying to help himself out. He just went about it the wrong way. And the bad part is, you need this timing and chemistry with Carr. This is the time where you need to be on the field, and so his play is going to suffer.
I almost feel like the question is almost stated in a way where is he falling apart, or is the confusion based upon, his conduct? And if that's the likelihood of what it is, yes, they did make the right decision. I've said that from day one, that the Steelers needed to get someone of the influence of Antonio Brown that creates confusion and creates conflict. They have to get him out, regardless of the statistic lines that he may be able to put up. You got to get that type of confusion out so that you can really guide your team in the right direction. So I don't really hold him, I don't feel any type of way one way or the other about him freezing his feet up. I mean, an accident happened while he was trying to do some therapy.
Oh, I got a problem with it. I'm going to tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
All you former players that, you know what? During the offseason, these guys know how to get prepared themselves. They don't need the teams. They can all do it on their own. Odell Beckham should do what he wants to do. Ante B should do what he wants to do because they're great. And teams sit around and say, no, this is why we want to babysit them during the offseason. Because we give them $70 million and they go out and do some dumb stuff that hurts our investment.
But he did this on his free time where no team had you. This was after mini camp. This is in July when this happened.
This is why they want you there for OTAs. They want to babysit people. They got $70 million tied up in.
I ain't like that voice, that inflection. Yeah, right. I ain't like the vernacular. I ain't like no parts of what you just did to us. But I will say this is not a violation in spirit. You were actually intending to do the right thing.
Right.
Let me give you the best defense I can have for him. My whole body hurts. I'm going to cryotherapy, not because my arm,
got a story
my
for
leg,
y'all, too.
My whole body hurts. And he's like, okay, put your socks on. He's like, my feet hurt the most. And maybe in that effort, he took the socks off to say, let me get that pure therapy on them dogs. But cryotherapy is not to be messed with.
I got a story. When I was playing in Cincinnati, I sprained my ankle, and I did not want to miss the game at all. And so when I was in college at Oregon State, I sprained my ankle when I had a dad that was a veterinarian. He gave me DMSO. I don't know if y'all know.
Oh, that horse.
So me being in Cincinnati, I went to Kentucky. I got some DMSO.
No.
I didn't know what I was doing. I got up the next morning. I couldn't even walk. My feet was like alligator skin. I couldn't walk. I had to go. I went up there and I told Q, I'm like, Q, I took my sock off. I'm like, look at my feet, bro.
Hey, that's
He
a
was
serious
like, what
business.
did you do? And I explained it to him. Went down to the trainer, took my socks off. The trainer just started laughing. That gave me peace of mind knowing I was going to be okay. I had burned my skin. I gave me some burn cream. I was cool in 3 days.
Oh, man.
But I was scared.
Okay.
I couldn't walk.
Let's talk in spirit when you try to do the right thing, but it went wrong.
Oh,
okay,
no.
so I had a thigh bruise, and they were like, we need you to go home and ice it. Continue icing it every hour, 20 minutes. Cool. I was having the ice, and they was like, frozen vegetables, anything works. Cool. Put it on my leg. I'm icing this all night. So one time I nodded off. Then I was like, oh, it's 35, 40 minutes.
Your foot dropped.
It's stuck.
It's stuck.
Yeah, it's stuck.
I had to go to, I had to wait for it to melt off, and when it melted off, it took some skin with it. Now, they laughed at it, but you know what? Sometimes in spirit of doing the right things, it could go wrong, but ain't nobody trying to say, oh, man.
It just happened.
It just happened. It is what it is.
It is what it is, but the Steelers made the right decision.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
that remains to be seen.
No,
On the
it doesn't.
field. On
No.
the field.
No, I'm
Results.
No, I'm gonna disagree with both of you.
Uncle MC Hammer is here, or Uncle Jimmy's here. Give us your big dummy of the day. What did Marcellus do?
Well, the big dummy of the day goes to the person that just done an NFL player impersonation talking about, oh, you should just let the players go out and do whatever they want to do. What NFL player you done ever heard talk like that? Ever. You saw how everybody looked at him.
Right.
Man, if you don't get out of here with that.
Here's a highlight
Serious.
from our discussion earlier about Tom Brady. I say Brady isn't a hypocrite. The Patriot way created Tom Brady. If it kills him too, so be it.
No way. Hell no. Look at that resume. Look what he's helped build. Is it in Bill we trust or in Brady we trust? And that's always been a conversation. Which one is really running this thing?
All right, Uncle Jimmy. Tom Brady, I think it's over. He's got his house for sale. He's got a contract that lets him walk. I think it's over in New England.
First of all, let me tell you, y'all totally honored to have me here, okay?
Yeah.
This is why I'm here.
Oh.
I represent the voice of experience. I represent the pillar of promiscuity. You understand what I'm saying?
What?
Damn it, let me tell you something. If Uncle Jimmy tell you that a duck can pull a truck, hook him up. You understand what I'm saying? In other words, I'm telling you, the Patriot way is over. It's a wrap. It's over. It's done happened. When Tom Brady walks out of the Gillette Center at the Gillette Stadium at the end of this season,
We know.
the party gonna be over.
That's it.
All of his pain will be over, his willingness to take pay cuts, be Belichick's whipping boy, and all of this other mess, it's gonna be over. The whole Patriot way, that's Tom Brady.
Brady
See, let me tell you
wasn't
something. Belichick and Kraft can take Tom Brady for granted if they want to, but they gonna learn tonight. Look at me, let me explain something to you. The man done put his house up for sale. Whether he did it or whether Gazelle did it or not, the man getting ready to have to find a new address, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. I'm telling you, I'm the pillar of experience. I went through the same thing with May Dessa. Came home one day, bro, component set, my doggone Capone set, my Super Nintendo, my Stretch Armstrong with the Kung Fu grip, my OJ's 45 collection, Stairway to Heaven, let me make love to you, family reunion, all of this, all over the yard with dog piss all over. Man, you ever been so hurt? You ever been so hurt that you just couldn't do nothing about it? Man, I was too hurt to catch a case, Marco. You understand me? All I was doing was sitting up talking about, I'm on the stairway to heaven. I'm climbing step by step. Come on, girl. Step by step. Y'all don't feel me. That's what I'm doing. That's how you know you've been hurt.
By doing that.
You know,
When you on the stairway to heaven.
You ain't the OJs, bro.
Yeah, right.
You know how Eddie get it. Y'all don't hear me. Come on now.
Tom Brady listen to the OJ?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Backstabber. That's
Backstab.
Oh, that's the New England Patriots theme song. They smile in your face. All the time they got a player to take your place. The New England Patriots. They backstabbers.
All right, listen.
Come on now.
I got to get to my
I'm ready, baby.
to my approval rating.
I'm ready for my close-up.
Brady, 89, GOAT status. He goes up 3 points.
Yeah.
1 in character, 2 in authenticity. He's selling his house.
Oh, wow.
Calling a bluff. I like it.
You know what it's gonna be?
What?
A family reunion.
I'm going up in character. I love the joke. I think I got some first-team reps today. Like, that's hilarious. Authenticity down 1 because you're going through this contract. You're going through this. You got to lie a little bit.
Fans online agree with us. 79% GOAT status. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.